Healing minds, inspiring voices, living truth, making choices. This is your space. Just be you, authentically peculiar with Marcia. Welcome to a space where healing is real, where your voice matters and your truth is enough. With authentically peculiar. Season 5, the year of expansion, healing deeper, living louder, stepping fully into who you are. Authentically peculiar with Marcia.
Welcome back to Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. You know, there are just some people that you meet in passing that you can just pull their energy, feel their spirit, feel their excitement, and really relate to their story. My guest today is Laurie Kennedy. I met Laurie in Paris with so many other phenomenal speakers, but her story resonated with everything inside of me. Laurie has is a best-selling author, number one best-selling author. She's a caregiver advocate, a reliance architect, and a mentor to women navigating life's transition. And that is going to be the conversation for us today. Navigating life's transition, going through these ups and downs, and really giving ourselves permission to know what life is about. As the founder of The Real, Laurie is a co-creator of empowerment for communities of women. She is passionate about helping others move from burnout to purpose. Let me say that again. From burnout to purpose. Through her coaching and events and speaking, Laurie helps women rediscover their identity, build confidence, and create lives they truly love. So, Laurie, thank you so much for saying yes to Authentically Peculiar with Marcia today. I appreciate you.
Well, Marcia, I am so honored and grateful to be here. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to just be here and share this time with your audience as well.
Absolutely. So let's get started. One of the things that I would like you to share, starting off, is your compelling story of how you got to the point of really desiring to help women as they transition. What took you there?
It really started in about 2018. I lost my dad to cancer. He'd had cancer for about 6 years, but he was doing well. And then his cancer progressed really fast, and we lost him in less than 2 weeks. And having gone from, I've been a caregiver for over 26 years, but having him go from a functioning dad, we would do things together, to needing full hospice care and then providing that hospice care really took a toll on me. And then after my dad's
Mm,
passing, making a promise to my dad that taking care of my mom would be at the forefront of my decisions, I didn't realize how stressful that really would be.
mhm.
And so the burnout from just constantly saying yes over and over and over again to everyone but myself um, really took a toll on me. And it wasn't until I actually started my personal development journey that I really understood what it was like to stop, take care of myself, and then what that actually did for everyone else in my life. So
Mhm.
I, once I found that passion inside of me, it really made me, especially in the caregiving world, it's really given me a drive to build community for women, because my community really is the reason that I'm here today. They've given me so much strength and power, and just holding me accountable, but also giving me the space to breathe when I need it. So it's just really given me the opportunity to really show up for everyone else.
I love that you created a group, a space that's safe for you to say, I can show up for me and then show up for others. And they can do likewise. And that way, no one is burning out. Can you define what your definition of burnout is?
That's a good question. So my definition of burnout would, mm, you don't sleep well, even though you're getting enough sleep. You
Mm-hmm.
wake up tired. You have schedule fatigue. You constantly are saying yes. So your schedule is just full, and then you can't actually get the things done that you want.
Mm-hmm.
You start avoiding conversations with people that mean a lot to you. This happens quite a bit. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, especially with the people that are very close to you,
Yeah.
because you just don't want to have to worry about having to say yes to something else or to try to help them through something. You don't show up the same at work. You start to just feel missing. You feel like you're
Yeah.
missing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really, burnout can look 100 different ways, but when you just start feeling like I just don't have it in me anymore and I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. One of the things after my dad passed away, one of the big things that came to me was I just don't think I could be a caregiver anymore. And I'd been doing it at that
Mm-hmm.
point. I'd been doing it for over 20 years. And I was like, I need to change. This is where I'm supposed to be. And
Mm-hmm.
so that little revolution of I don't think I can do this anymore was something that was a little bit of a flicker that made
Mm-hmm.
me start trying to figure out what it was that I was supposed to be doing.
And it's such a beautiful space of you giving yourself that permission to even address that because so many, especially women in the roles of caregivers, we are so afraid to say no. We're so
Mm,
afraid because everybody looks at the daughter to
yep.
automatically caregive. And then we have this idea that if we don't, then we're not a good daughter. How did you
Yeah.
help yourself really combat all the societal expectations of being that caregiver?
Ooh, so you said something and I just wanted to circle around to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's you have to be aware. Like once you find that awareness, it's awareness around like when that little awakening, like I said, that I just can't do this anymore. And when I said that out loud, I was like, oh, I don't like that. And it made it literally put something on the stove. You know, you say how we have all these pots on the stove or our plate's really full. It put something on the stove is like, okay, I now have to work on this. Because
Yeah,
if I am to the point where I don't feel like I can do what I'm supposed to do anymore, then something has to shift.
right.
And so um I I apologize because I feel like I went
No,
backwards for
you're
your question.
fine. No, no, no. Listen, we just flow. So no, keep going.
So
I'm enjoying.
I I feel like having the awareness, and
Mhm.
we all, if we really have an honest, and my honest, I mean, it's a hard conversation to have.
It
When you have an
is.
honest conversation with yourself, you really can go, I can't this, or I just don't want
Mhm.
to, or I should be. So when we should on ourselves, we should. So you start shoulding on yourself, it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a point where it's like, oh, that's not, it doesn't feel good. And so when you start having awareness about all those things, that's when you can really start going, okay, this is where I need to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I feel like my adjustment is. And what I can tell people is deep down, you can have that conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you need to have that conversation with somebody else. And sometimes that
Yeah.
conversation happens and you're like, oh, this is not what I expected to say. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just your body going, get it out. I need it to stay out of my system. And
Yeah.
it's so important to have people in your life that allow you to have that conversation without judgment.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually have those moments of awareness.
Yeah, and as you know, I'm a therapist, and so I often have to remind parents as well as their children, your children are not obligated to care for you as you're aging. We would hope and we would want to, but they still have to have a choice, not an obligation. When we
Yes.
remove, I think if we remove that pressure of an obligation, we'll see more children saying, yeah, I can, have mom or dad for a couple of days and this sibling, or yeah, I'll come to, the facility to be there. Do you think that that would give people, when we remove the obligation off, do you think that gives people more permission to be present because it's based on what their needs are as well?
I think that it all comes down to free will.
Mm-hmm.
When you are, when it becomes a requirement and you have to do something, people are like, you get more pushback. I don't want to
Yeah.
do it. I don't want to do it. And I can
Mm-hmm.
say that about, I am a new step parent. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and I don't have children of my own. So this
Okay.
is a new season for me to learn that
Mm-hmm.
about obligations and pushback. And we're
Mm-hmm.
getting into the teenage years. And so all the things are going to start happening, and trying to let, and this kind of flows together, trying to let my stepson, teaching him the right path, and then having him at his own free will want to do
Mm-hmm.
things. I
Yeah.
think that kind of is something to be said about us as humans as a whole. When you
Mm-hmm.
are required, and it becomes an obligation that you just don't want to keep fulfilling, the you don't show up the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you give people permission to have their own free will, and just when you show up the way that you want people to show up in your life, and you teach people how to treat you,
Mm-hmm.
then when the time comes for it to be reciprocated, they know what to expect, and it's not going to be out of obligation. It's going to be because they want to be there.
Yeah.
And I think that's as a whole for,
Mm-hmm.
everyone from, parents raising kids to
Mm-hmm.
kids, now raising their parents, if you will, when
Yeah.
you're parenting your parent.
Hmm. And I'd share with parents as well. At some point, you have to recognize that parenting isn't a life sentence.
Right.
You get to get your life back. Yeah, those first 18 years, you chose to be a parent, chose to be present, but that doesn't mean that you are incarcerated to
Amen.
parenting the rest of your life. And
Amen.
there's such an off balance for that. Parents struggle because a lot of times people take on the identity of their children
Mm-hmm.
and they forget
Mm-hmm.
who they are. How do you help women transition back into a space of knowing themselves without all of their labels?
So that is such a beautiful question, and I'm so
Mm-hmm.
glad you asked. A lot of times, and so many times, it's, when I say caregiver, I'm using that term very loosely. I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about moms. I'm talking, and I mainly work with women, but I've worked with men before, but
Yeah.
moms, parents that are still raising their kids that
Mm-hmm.
maybe have disabilities, actual caregivers that, when I say actual, like, you work in a hospital setting, you work in a home health setting,
Yeah.
caregivers, but you have given yourself to somebody else for so long that you're like, I have now taken on an identity of, I am a caregiver. Yeah, but before
Mm-hmm.
you were a caregiver, what did you do?
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what did you do?
Mm-hmm.
When I work with women who are like, I just don't know what to do anymore, I don't know who I am or anything like that, where I usually start is, tell me about your 20s. Tell me
Yeah.
what you were
Ooh.
like in high school. Tell me what you were like, what did you like to do? Were you on the cheer team? Did you like baseball or softball, or
Mm-hmm.
what did you like to do
Mm-hmm.
prior to your responsibilities? When we didn't
Mm.
have bills to pay and, all the things, what did you like to do? Granted, we grow up, but let's talk about what we liked. And then have a discussion on, what do you do now that you like?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like sitting and reading with no interruptions? Do you like just turning on music and just laying on the floor and just listening? Like, what do you like to do with
Mm-hmm.
no judgment? And that's the thing. As we get older, sometimes the best things that are are for us are the things that are really, um, they're not as extravagant as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, used to be, I want to go out and I want to go to the club and I want to go dancing and I want to go have drinks with my friends. And now I'm like, can everyone just come to my house and let's sit in pajamas and just talk?
Right.
You know, it's a shift. So it's just having the conversation on where is it that you used to, where did you used to go? What did you used to like? And
Mm-hmm.
then we start in on conversations. What do you like now? Why don't you feel
Right.
you have time for that now? Because most of the people are like, oh, I love doing this, but I don't have time for it. Oh, I love doing that. I don't know when I'll get the chance to do that anymore. And as people are transitioning, especially women who are starting to become empty nesters and starting the shift
Mm-hmm.
into now I don't know where my identity is because my identity is going to college or they're getting married. And so they don't know what to do with themselves anymore. The shift happens where it's like, okay, now we need to figure out how you find who you are. And I
Mm-hmm.
can really say personal development is a huge piece of that. Huge piece of that.
Yeah, you know, you were saying something, and it just really reminded me of a post that I made a few weeks before I came to Paris. And I talked about us being the center of the spoken wheel. We're all
Yeah.
of these connections to the wheel, but we forget that we're in the center. We forget the things that we once loved. We forget everything about ourselves without all of these labels. So getting
Yeah.
them to go back in time and remembering the things that they loved, the things that they appreciated about themselves, I think is a huge process in their transition back to them. What are
Yeah.
some things, other things that you encourage women to begin looking at? Like you said, you work with everybody, but specifically for women, what are some things that you
Right.
encourage them to look at or to do in order to regain insight to themselves?
Um, it's funny that you talked about the wheel because I call it the center of the clock. You are the center of your
Mm.
clock.
Oh, I like
And
that.
so one of the biggest things that I tell women to do is start journaling. And
Yes.
when when someone first told me that, I literally looked at them and went, I'm not going to start writing everything down. Like I rolled my eyes and I literally was like, you know, like
Hmm.
I had words to say about that. And
Yeah.
so it's funny that I'm now here being a huge advocate for journaling because,
Hmm.
and it can be video journaling, it can be written journaling, it can be just audio journaling. Because
Hmm.
when you start just freely talking and letting things flow out of you, you'd be amazed what comes out of
Hmm.
you, amazed what comes
Hmm.
out of you. And so my biggest thing and the whenever anyone asks this question, my first thing is start journaling.
Yeah.
Start writing stuff down. Start getting things out of you because you
Hmm.
can't keep holding it up inside of you because then you're going to start forgetting. There's too
Hmm.
much going on in here. We've got too many boxes open in our brain.
Hmm.
Start putting it out there. And you'd be surprised how much you can actually get out and be like, oh, I didn't expect that to come out. And when
Hmm.
you have no judgment with yourself, that just to let what comes out come out,
Hmm.
it really does help to just kind of start freeing your body up to find
Hmm.
out what else is there.
Absolutely. I often tell, of course, I have to go back to my therapist roots, but I often tell clients the reason why I encourage heavily journaling is because things attach to our bodies, right? And that's where anxiety hides, is those hidden
Mm-hmm.
places of things that we have not dealt with. And when we give ourselves permission to have that pen to paper and free flow, you know, it's good to have guided journals and things of that nature, but when you can free flow, that spiritual regurgitation is what I call
Mm-hmm.
it. You throw up all that stuff
Yes.
that you didn't even realize was there. And that brings about healing and reduces anxiety. So it's like a win-win situation. So I love that you hated journaling in the beginning, but that you love
Yeah.
it and you encourage people to do that. Outside of video journaling, outside of audio journaling, and even writing, what are some other techniques? I know I usually tell clients to get a blank canvas and just write words or draw or something and come up with some creativity. Are there any other creative methods that you use for journaling?
So this is gonna it's kind of funny you say that. I actually just started painting rocks. And
Nice.
the release that it allows in a small space. It doesn't take up a lot of room. You don't need paint. I use markers. It just allows for my body to completely release. I
Wow.
tell people to find things that are things to do with your hands that
Mm-hmm.
don't require brain power. So puzzling,
Mm-hmm.
I'm now taking up painting rocks,
Mm-hmm.
um, coloring, things to do with your hands, because it's really, honestly, in my opinion, I'm not a therapist, but I think it's therapeutic to be doing things with your
Absolutely.
hand that you can just empty your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And it also gives you some fulfillment on, um, I don't know what the words are that I'm trying to look for, but there's fulfillment in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Finishing a puzzle, there's nothing's really required for you. You've got a
Mm-hmm.
picture in front of you. You put pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I'm painting rocks, it's literally just coming up with a design and just sitting there and looking at it and just letting myself be in a moment.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that you find things that are creative,
Mm-hmm.
that allow you to put something out there
Mm-hmm.
without requiring brain. A lot of people can knit or crochet and do that. And I'm not handy like that. But I mean, finding a craft of some sort
Mm-hmm.
that you do that's just for you. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need anyone else for it. You don't, and honestly, I don't really want anyone around when I'm doing it either, because it's really kind of my time for meditation.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I
Learning
would
your
tell
time.
people to, yeah, and I
Mm-hmm.
tell people, meditation is amazing. And I think that learning how to meditate properly is
Mm-hmm.
also something that takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I find that when I can have something in front of me that I can work on,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can work through things in my brain and allow myself to talk to myself, I think that really does help. And so I encourage women to find something easy to do. Go to the thrift store
Mm-hmm.
and get a 50-cent puzzle. They're all
Yeah.
over the place, I promise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that because right now, the world is in chaos. It's just so much going on, and it's tapping
Amen.
into people's inner core. Finding little things like for me, my outside is me just walking outside barefoot,
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
I can reground myself with the earth. I play my sound bowls, things of
Hmm.
that nature. You have to tap into those little things that you don't have to share with
Yep.
anyone else in order to get to that space of peace and release. When you find someone that's kind of, oh no, I can't do that. I can't put me first. How do you help them really understand that putting them first is actually helping them help others?
Well, it doesn't happen overnight.
It
I'll tell you
doesn't.
that. It's
Mm-mm.
it's one, they have to want the shift.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, is once you're aware of it and then you ask for help with it, because it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing anymore. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And so when you actually have someone that wants the shift,
Mm-hmm.
it's progress. And I also am co-founded a group. It's called the 1% Society, and we
Mm-hmm.
encourage women to be just 1% better each day. That's all that
Mm-hmm.
we're asking. We're not
Yes.
asking for huge monumental shifts. We're asking for just 1%.
Mm-hmm.
So if today
Yeah.
you got up and you went and you got your markers to paint your rocks, and there's more that goes with that. Go outside and find the rocks you want to paint. It requires more from you that it to just be present in the moment.
Yeah.
So when one, like I said, it's not an overnight thing that's going to happen, the shift, but we start working at it one day at a time. What did you
Yeah.
do different today? Did you
Mm-hmm.
get up
Mm-hmm.
today and did you actually make your bed? Cool. Wins. Did you brush your teeth for the full 2 minutes that your toothbrush smiled and sang at you after you're done?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrating yourself as you start doing those things for you. I took more time today, and instead of just having a bowl of cereal, I made eggs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Day two, I made eggs, but I added onions too because I took time to
Mm-hmm.
cut them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the little things.
Mm-hmm.
When you start actually taking care of yourself first. And I don't believe that we as a whole celebrate the little wins. And so having someone in your life that encourages you to celebrate those wins, it makes you start wanting to do them more.
Yeah.
When you start celebrating the little things and not just the big stuff, it makes your life feel like you're doing better at it.
Right, right. How do you help individuals to understand celebrating those little things, even starting your day with a voice of gratitude can change the trajectory of their day? How do you help them understand those little small changes?
So usually it starts with a challenge, because a
Mm,
lot of times people get pushed back. I don't have time for that. That's not something I do. I don't believe in that. There's pushback, there's
mhm,
resistance. So
mhm,
it usually starts with a challenge. First one is, I just want you to journal. Get
mhm,
up, and it's either in the morning or at night, wherever you may be. And I just want you to turn on an alarm,
mhm.
and for 2 minutes, write
2 minutes.
whatever you want on this. It could be
Mhm,
the same words. You could be like, this sucks, I hate this, whatever it is. Just start writing. Just
mhm.
let yourself completely, whatever, for 5 days.
Yeah,
At the
yeah.
end of 5 days, is there a shift between what you felt on day one and day five?
Mhm,
Usually that's how it starts. And when I say it's a challenge, it's because the pushback comes from us. It's not
mhm.
because we say we don't have time for this, that's not going to work, things like that, because we are an instant gratification society. I
Mhm,
want it fixed,
mhm.
and when I say I want it fixed, I want it fixed now.
Right.
And so it starts with a challenge, and then it moves from there. Okay, so now the challenge is okay, so you want to be healthier with your eating. Day
Mhm.
one, okay, so and this is just me being real, my vice is Mountain Dew. I
Okay.
I always say that I survive on Mountain Dew and sarcasm. Those are
Mhm.
that's how my life survives. And so my
Mhm.
challenge to myself is, okay, so day one is no Mountain Dew.
Mhm.
Like, what does it look like to have a challenge? But if you slip, it's fine, because this is it's giving yourself grace to see the progress, even if you have to take a couple steps back and then you move forward and then a step back and
Mhm.
then move forward a couple more steps. Giving yourself grace, because you are programmed this way, and
Mhm.
it's not like we're five and trying to, unlearn something we just learned. We've got, for me, 45 years of programming that I am trying to undo to now
Yes.
see a shift. So
Mhm.
giving yourself grace and challenging yourself because you want the change.
Mhm.
So you are now aware of it. You have asked for help. Now that you have somebody in your life that is willing to help you, accept the challenge and give yourself grace while you move through it.
Absolutely. That give yourself grace part is a complete foundation changer.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we judge ourselves so hard because we have this idea of perfection that is ruining our opportunity to even make small mistakes, you know?
Yes.
So hearing
Yeah.
you say that just made my heart leap. I was like, yes, more people are reminding others that you got to show yourself that grace and really honor who you are in that moment. And so, as you continue to spread a voice of transition to reduce burnout, to help people identify their why or their purpose, what are some major steps you help individuals to understand? Because everybody says, I want to know my purpose. I want to know my purpose. And then when you start working them through that process of, well, who are you? What's your skill and all that kind of stuff, they become afraid. How do you help them go through? I like to think of it as a canal, like we're going down this river and we may
Sure.
pick up little pieces to identify their purpose. How do you help them get to that point where they really can grab their purpose understanding?
So what I really focus on are the ABCs, and this is what I use,
Okay.
are awareness, boundaries, and community.
I love
Those are
that.
my three fundamental things that really can help you progress forward.
Hmm.
Awareness is everything when it comes to any sort of change that you are wanting or needing in your life. Being aware that you need it is great. Perfect. Now you have awareness. Let's figure that out. But then
Hmm.
you have to create boundaries around that. Now that you know that you're aware of something and you need something, people are going to push you for things that you don't want. That now maybe test boundaries that you are setting, and people are going to push back hard because you've let them for so long. You have let them cross that line continuously without repercussion. And I always say, you teach people how to treat you. And I don't care if they're 3 or if they're 83, you teach people how to treat you. And if it's a new boundary, you now have to teach people that that's now a boundary that you have that you will not cross. That's now a hard pass.
Right.
So it's boundaries and being firm in that and knowing I don't like that. That's not what I want anymore. And being firm with that and being okay with, it's going to be a while before people get that. And at some point, and I tell a lot of people this, they're not going to get it on the first time. You've let them repeatedly cross that boundary. So you have to keep showing them, I'm not okay with that. I will not be doing that. My answer is no. And saying no is a boundary.
Yes.
Full stop.
Just flat.
No.
No explanation needed.
You don't need to. You are an adult. You can just say no. And that's okay. And they can deal with the repercussions of that because it's not your problem. It's not. And if it is your problem, then you need a pay raise.
And the truth is so many people are establishing boundaries, but they're not establishing consequences.
And what that looks like, absolutely.
Exactly. Because boundaries without consequence are just open words.
Yep.
You have to be able to put a consequence in because, as you stated, you've created this environment that has allowed them to treat you the way that they've been used to treating you.
Yeah.
And there have been no consequences. Yeah, they're used to you throwing a tantrum and getting mad.
Yeah.
But what's the true consequence?
And once you've set the boundary and you are holding firm to it, how long before, okay, I've set this boundary. You've now crossed it 3 times. I've told you repeatedly. So now here's the cutoff. I will no longer do this. This is no longer a question, and creating that. Will you no longer speak to them because you've now, said no? I'm not sure what the boundary would be, but what is the consequences? And then after how long is it nope, I said no, 3rd time's a charm, I'm done. And being okay with yourself and not having the guilt set up with that. Exactly. You don't need to carry guilt because somebody else can't respect you.
And the truth is you owe it to yourself. Yep. You owe it to yourself to no longer be a doormat to people who won't respect you. And the real reason why folks don't respect someone's boundaries is because the boundaries stop them from manipulating that person. Yep. That's the only reason why they don't want to respect it and they don't want to let you go. Because if you think back over things, how often has this person attempted to manipulate, abuse you, and emotionally sabotage you because you have boundaries? That's powerful, Laurie. That is really powerful to be able to help women to grab hold to freedom and release and not being restricted by what everybody else is saying and doing and feeling about them. So share with the audience your book. Share with them what would you say? Well, let me back up because I want to come back to the book so we can get that out there. But if you had to offer 5 quick things for women to incorporate in their life to begin transitioning into their own empowerment, what would those things be?
So my 5 things is journaling, finding your community and making time for community. And then I run a program. It's called 5 for You, 5 for you. And it's 5 minutes for you every single day where I teach people how to intentionally take 5 minutes. A lot of people are like, take an hour a day. And I'm like, I don't know where I can find an hour, but you know what? I can pull out 5-minute increments where it's like, I can stop and breathe. I can reset. I can ground myself. I can do whatever it is I need to do to refocus. Yeah. And that can be 5 minutes of in between transitions of projects, things like that. So a 5 for you. And you can do this on your own, but find 5 minutes to intentionally take care of yourself a day. It's not a lot.
I love that.
So journaling, community, 5 minutes for yourself. I would say, this is terrible because I don't do this enough and I'm working on it. Drink more water, because hydration is
Mm-hmm.
huge
Mm-hmm.
with how you feel. It helps your
Yes.
mind, it helps your brain fog, it helps everything. So drink more water.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, like I said, that's not my strong suit, but I'm working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And my last thing would be to get enough sleep. And not everyone
Yes.
needs a full 8 hours of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually can I usually sleep for about 6 hours, and I sleep well for six
Mm-hmm.
hours and I feel
Mm-hmm.
rested. I feel taken care of. I felt like I've slept. And it
Yeah.
allows me to, when you're getting restful sleep, sometimes you don't need 8 hours, but some people need
Mm-hmm.
more than that, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But those are my five biggest things.
I
Make
love
sleep
that.
non negotiable, make your hydration non negotiable. Take that 5 minutes for you. Find your community. And I
Mm-hmm.
cannot stress enough how much your community is important. My community, and I'm not exaggerating when I say my community saved my life.
Yeah.
So the people that you can trust that will hold you in a space of safe accountability with no
Mm-hmm.
judgment and love
Mm-hmm.
you unconditionally, sandpaper and all, those people are the people that will get you through your hard times.
I love that. And I'm gonna piggyback off the water. Here's what I've learned about water consumption. When you wake up and you spend the first 5 to 10 minutes doing three things. First, voicing your gratitude for the day, drinking 2 to 3 ounces of water, and some type of movement where it's just transcendent movement or stretching or whatever that is. 10 minutes when you first start, when you jumpstart your metabolic system with those first 2 to 3 ounces of water, you're going to want water for the rest of the day because you've already woke it up. So that's just a little tip that I like to
Yeah.
share about getting that water in first thing in the morning, because it clears out the brain fog. It wakes up all of your organs, and then you're able to run. So those are five great tips. Thank you so much for sharing those
Yeah.
with us. So I'm going to ask this question, and then I want you to be able to share your book information, your social media, and all of that. Tell me, when you hear the words authentically peculiar, how does that resonate with you?
The word authentically sits so well with me because
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we're in a season where authenticity, especially with AI and social media and everything, that authenticity is the new currency, period.
Mm-hmm. I
And
like that.
so authenticity for everything to me. And that means showing up messy. That means showing up imperfect. That means showing up and stuttering over myself and maybe not knowing exactly what I'm going to say. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it's important when we are authentic, people resonate with your authenticity. And
Yeah.
so, and then when you say peculiar, I love the word peculiar because I
Mm-hmm.
think that it just means that you're different.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
love people that are different we're supposed to be different. We're not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to all be the same. So
Exactly.
I love your podcast title, Authentically Peculiar, was like, I just love that because of the
Thank
way
you.
that it sits with everything about showing up and
Mm-hmm.
allowing myself. I get a lot of comments on my hair and, oh my gosh, I could never do that. I'm like, it's just hair.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me different. It is part of my personality, and
Mm-hmm.
allowing myself to just live inside of my difference and my personality, it
Yeah.
creates energy that people are drawn to. So
Mm-hmm.
when you live in your
Parody.
being
Gotcha.
peculiar, yeah, when you live inside of that and own it, it
Mm-hmm.
allows your authenticity to show, and people are drawn to that.
Absolutely. And I love that when you were speaking about the peculiarity, I always think about, I made a post several years ago and said the only box that people should be considering is their coffin. Any other boxes don't need to exist. So I'm
Nope.
peculiar. I can't fit into a box. I don't
Yeah.
belong confined to one situation. And so thank you so much for sharing that. Share with the audience how they can reach out to you, what products you have available, the area of the country that you're in for your coaching services. Just let them connect with you.
So A couple different ways. All of my social media handles are the real Laurie Kennedy. So you can find me on any social media handle except for LinkedIn. I'm not on LinkedIn, but all social media handles are there. And I do 98% of my coaching virtually. So
Nice.
I am available anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that accessibility is key, and we have the option for accessibility now. So it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually, my home state is Colorado in the United States, but I am available everywhere. I travel quite a bit. I'm in the South quite a bit. I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually in Atlanta currently. So it's
Seriously? We should
yes,
have got
ma'am.
together in person.
Are you in
Oh
Atlanta?
my goodness. I'm outside of Atlanta, like 20 minutes from the airport.
Well, I'm about
Okay.
20 minutes from the airport right now where I'm sitting.
Nice.
So we will catch up after that.
Yes.
But so I come to the South quite a bit. So I am willing to be wherever people need me to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the services that I offer coaching, but I'm also, I have my Five for You group where
Mm-hmm.
it's just a group of women, and that it's just a space where it's encouragement, it's community, it's safe, and it's supposed to be easy. It's
Nice.
an easy place you can come, show up however you may be, and we meet virtually and in person.
Mm-hmm.
So there's information about that on my website, which is thereallaurie.kennedy.com. So again,
Okay.
everything is the real Laurie Kennedy. And another thing is with the 1% Society that I co-founded with my business partner, we do live events. We have Ultimate Girls Weekend. We have
Mm.
Awakening You, where we really feed into your soul and really just feed into you so you can leave, like you come empty, you leave full. We do at the beginning of the year, we always do an event called Dream Big, Plan Bigger, where we help you really hone in on the goals for the year and how to really set a vision board and how to actually work on the things on your vision board. So we have all these little events, and then we have pop up called Sip Happens, where we just get together and just be in each other's space. We get
Mm-hmm.
together for drinks, for coffee, whatever it may be. We find a place, a location, and we do those about 6 times a year as well. So
Nice.
events all the time, because again, community is everything.
Mhm.
Community will get you far. You're never meant to heal alone. You have to have a community.
Absolutely. I love that you're never meant to heal alone. You have to
You were
have a
never meant to.
community. I love that. That is a closing statement like no other. You are never meant to heal alone. Find your community. You can reach out to Laurie at the real Laurie Kennedy everywhere to make that connection. Join that Five for You group, the one percenters. There's so much good energy out there, Laurie. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for taking your time out today to spend time with the audience of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia, hearing your empowerment, giving yourself that permission to say, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I can help this way,
Yeah.
but I don't want to do that anymore. It's going to change so many lives. So thank you again. And until the next episode of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia, listen, like, share, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And we'll see you again real soon. Take good care. Thank you for sharing time and space with us today on Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Don't forget to like, comment, and share the podcast with everyone that you know. In addition, go out and support each of the guests and their own social platforms. Buy their products, leave them a comment. We'll see you on the next episode of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia.